She stood before the colonel, silent. That silence alone was enough to disturb him.
Is that clear?
To some men, silence wasn't just a response. It was a mirror. And the colonel didn't like what it reflected. He smirked, leaned back, and said what the rest of the room had been whispering behind her back for weeks. Asterisk, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. You're not fit for military. You don't belong here. Resign now and save us the embarrassment. No one else spoke. They didn't dare. Besides, truth be told, they agreed with him. She was young, barely 30. Thin, quiet, always observing. Too calm. Not rough enough. She didn't look like what they believed a soldier should look like. And that was exactly why she had become a mystery. She didn't break down like they expected. She just said one line. Sir, with all due respect, if I'm unfit for this place, then I think you're in the wrong building. Silence. That single line would echo in his mind for years. But this story doesn't start here. It begins years earlier. Her name was Lieutenant Mira Shaw. That's what the badges said. But the truth was, Myra had already lived 3 lives before she ever set foot in that garrison. At 18, she'd lost her parents in a car accident. With no family left, she enlisted, a teenager with more anger than direction. But unlike most recruits, her discipline wasn't forged by the military. It was born in something else. Solitude. She trained harder than everyone, not to prove something to others, but to silence the noise in her head. That grief, that anger, that hunger for something that no one could name. She rose in rank faster than anyone thought possible. She was exceptional. But she didn't climb for glory. She climbed because she had nothing to fall back on. By 24, she was already operating under special clearance, missions no one heard about publicly, missions that didn't exist in official reports, places where bravery and death blurred into the same shadow, war zones, hostage extractions, intelligence operations deep behind enemy lines. And she never failed. But those stories were buried. Names were changed. Reports classified. Even on paper, she looked average. Almost invisible. That was intentional. The colonel didn't know who she was. Not really. All he saw was a low-ranking officer transferred into his unit. A woman, quiet and unassuming, handpicked to work under him for what he thought were standard intel duties. He didn't like it from the start. Another charity case, he'd mutter. She has combat clearance, the major once told him. Paper clearance. Doesn't mean she's seen half of what I have. That line would age poorly. The taunts began early. She's too soft. She's not aggressive enough. She doesn't belong here. They made bets behind her back. How long before she quits? The colonel? He was the loudest. He loved being right. He was old guard, chest full of medals, pride full of dust. He wasn't used to being questioned, especially not by someone like her. She saw it all, heard every word, quietly, and never resisted. 2 weeks in, they were sent to the field. War zone borderline. Hostile territory. They were briefed it would be surveillance only. No engagement. But the intel was wrong. Completely, fatally wrong. Within an hour of crossing the border, their comms went dead. GPS trackers jammed. Vehicles disabled. They were surrounded. Ambush. Gunfire echoed from the tree line. Men scrambled. Orders were lost beneath chaos. And the colonel, the same one who mocked her, froze. No command. No instructions. Just panic. She didn't. She ran, not away. Toward the danger. 1 shot. 2 shots. 3. Every bullet found its target. The men watched her move, silent, precise, flowing like a ghost between cover and open ground. She wasn't shooting like someone trained. She was shooting like someone who had seen death up close. More than once. And survived it, repeatedly, The major looked at her in awe. Who the hell is she? She didn't answer. They pushed forward. She cleared the path, neutralized threats, secured a vantage point. Then she disappeared. 30 minutes later, friendly air support arrived. How? She'd fixed the comms. Didn't tell anyone. Just did it. They were extracted. No casualties. Back on base, there was no congratulatory speech. The colonel stormed into the debriefing room, red-faced with frustration. You broke command structure. You disobeyed orders. You could have gotten everyone killed. She stood straight. I followed the objective, she replied calmly. You stopped doing that the moment you panicked. He slammed his hand on the table. You think you're better than me? No, she replied. I think I've already been you. I used to be. The major's pen froze. The colonel's face darkened. What does that mean? She looked directly into his eyes. When I was your rank, sir, I thought leading was shouting the loudest. That's not leadership. That's insecurity. The room felt like it dropped 10 degrees. That night, the major made a call. She was summoned. The briefing room was empty except for a single terminal connected to a secure line. The screen flashed. Classified. Access required. She typed something only she knew. A file unlocked. Colonel Harding. Former Special Operations. 10 confirmed missions. 9 failed. 1 survived because someone approached him at the extraction point and said the only words he remembered, get up. We're not dead yet. That someone was Mira. He never knew. She never wanted him to. She wasn't there to humiliate him. She was there because she was placed there. To observe if the man once considered a tactical asset. Still was. He wasn't. The next morning, she was summoned again. Same office. Different tone. The colonel didn't speak for the first time. He just stood and handed her something. An insignia. A rank badge. Stars, full colonel. No longer Lieutenant Mira Shaw, he said quietly. You are now Colonel Myra Shaw, effective immediately. The room was silent. She looked at him. His voice broke slightly. Why didn't you tell me? She paused. I wasn't sent here to tell you anything. I was sent here to see if you still lived up to the uniform you wore. And do I? She stopped at the doorway. You did once. She didn't stay to explain. Rumors spread like wildfire after that. Some said she was selected for an international task force. Some said she was promoted higher, only operating under black classification. Others said she disappeared entirely. Only one thing became certain. No soldier ever mocked her again. And the colonel, he told her story often, not as a warning, but as a lesson. That sometimes the strongest people in the room aren't the ones who shout the loudest. They're the ones who don't need to prove anything at all. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.